I'm gonna tell you why hard work is stupid. Okay, so I'm gonna give you an example. First of all, I'm gonna start with myself. Now, when I was in secondary school, I used to study a lot from the age of 16 to 17. It just felt like 1 year period, or no, I think it was a little over a year. But anyway, so alright, so I was doing the junior cert in 2013, and I think maybe in the lead up to the leaving cert, maybe a couple months beforehand, in about March, we got like a letter home to our parents saying that from now on, with the junior cert coming up, you need to study 5 to 6 hours a day on days that you're not in school. And I read that and I was like, that's too much. That can't be right. And then my parents were like, no, that's what it takes. You have to do that if you want to get good grades. And so I actually did that. I studied 5 hours a day on days where I wasn't in school. Of course, on days when you're in school, you don't have enough time to do that. But yeah, so weekends, Saturday, Sunday, 5 hours Saturday, 5 hours Sunday. It was very painful. I felt like I had the idea that if you want to do well in your exams and your studies, you have to push through a pain barrier, put yourself through pain. Alright, but I was completely wrong. And I worked a lot harder than people who got good grades. Because my grades were still shit. I was getting like C's and D's and stuff. I was doing like ordinary level for most of the subjects, and I was doing below average, below average, but I was putting in a crazy amount of work. And I just believed. I was naive. I believed what the school system was telling me. I did what they wanted me to do, which was stupid. Looking back, I should have looked at the guys who were getting the good grades and just think, wait, what are they doing? Or I try to do what they're doing. Now that I look back at it, some of the guys in my year group who got really good grades, like during the study hall, they used to be in the study hall for maybe like, was it an hour, 45 minutes a day? They wouldn't even study the whole time during that period. They just sit there half the time staring at the wall, maybe spend half the time studying. So, they knew, they were smart, they questioned the system, unlike me. You know, and if it wasn't for my parents, I think I would have just ignored the school's advice and I would have done much better. So yeah, I told one guy in my year group, he was quite smart. I told him I study 5 hours a day on days where I'm not in school, say like weekends and holidays. And he said, "Oh, you can't do that long term. It's just too much." And he was right. He was right. I should have listened to him, but I didn't. I was naive. Um. So yeah. Okay. So when I was 17, I did an IQ test. I got 70. All right. Now I forgot to tell you. After about a year doing that, I just completely burnt out. I kind of gave up. I didn't put as much effort into my studies or anything because I knew it was just there's no hope. I worked so hard and I wasn't going anywhere. So it was like no point. And I was like, right, I'm not gonna go to university. I want to get a job instead as soon as I leave school. But no, parents would not allow that. My dad was roaring abuse at me. I told my dad I wanted to do an apprenticeship. He was roaring at me saying, no, don't do apprenticeship. That's a dirty job. You need an office job. Go to your room, study. And I just ignored him because I was fed up with the studying, and that led to a lot of conflict, a lot of screaming and shouting. And it's stupid because when I was 17, I got 70 in an IQ test. 70. That means 98% of people my age were smarter than me, which is pretty bad. Or if you have an IQ of 70, you should not be going to university. But teachers are still saying, you need to go to university, And I have this one size fits all, which is crazy because, I believe that if you want to go to university, you need to be smarter than your average person. All right. I was watching an old video from the 1950s, and they had this room full of people they're talking to, people who got 120 or higher in their IQ test. And, they're saying that these guys should go to college, but everybody else who scored below 120, they were advised, no, you should do something else, get a job or something. So, yeah, that's more intelligent. All right. That's the thing. I believe, when you're in sixth year or even fifth year, you should do an IQ test. And for people with high IQs, but above average IQs, people should say, yeah, you're smart, you have the ability to go to university, keep that open as an option. But for people with lower IQs, say, nah, look, your IQ is too low, forget about studying, just chill. If you want to go to university, first you're going to have to increase your IQ, maybe just read for, 45 minutes a day or something, And if they did that, that would take the pressure off us a lot, and that's the big problem when people with low IQs are pressurized into going to university. It's just too hard for them. It's fucking retarded. Okay. So yeah, even with an IQ of 70, I worked at McDonald's for a year and 9 months, and I found it really hard. It was mentally challenging. I was really pushed, you know? So if you find working at McDonald's mentally difficult, then how the hell are you supposed to handle going to university? I was talking to people who went to university and worked at McDonald's part time, and they said working at McDonald's is like super easy compared to university. So, do you know what I mean? That's why it's stupid. Um, it was just very frustrating and really, really, I'm kind of resentful towards the teachers for doing what they did. So, yeah, also as a runner, I used to be a distance runner. Now, obviously, I wasn't as stupid as a runner. I think I overtrained as a runner, but like not to the same extent as I did running. Sorry, not as studying. So, I used to improve a little bit each year, but I felt like I didn't improve as much as I could have because I was overdoing it. I used to have to sleep for 9.5 to 10 hours a night. I think it was just because I was studying too much. My head was I was running too much. My body was oversleeping to try to make up for it. And for all the stress sorted. And yeah, I always burnt out for races like the All Irelands. Like, let's say in the cross country season, in the early races in like September, October, I'd always run really well. But then come like the Dublins in November and then the All Irelands in December, I just burn out and run crap. Right, because I was doing too much speed, not enough mileage. I should have been focusing on the mileage, being more endurance based. But no, my dad took over my training, saying, "Long slow runs make long slow racers. You have to do speed, 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 speed." And yeah, he made me do. I think when I was 15, 16, he made me do 2 track sessions a week. Well, so I was doing 2 track sessions a week, 1 hill session on the weekend, and the rest were easy runs. But my dad wanted me to build up to 4 track sessions a week. And the easy runs he wanted me to do at 6-minute mile pace, which is not easy at all, But he didn't tell me the pace. He just said do an easy run that day, so that's what I did, and I actually did treat it like an easy run. So yeah, So as a bodybuilder, I used to train 4 times. I trained 4 times a week, since I quit running. And I used to train for 30. I used to do 30-minute sessions, and again, I had these sleep problems, sleeping 9.5, 10 hours a night. I cut it down to 20 minutes a day, 4 times a week. Now I don't have sleep problems. I can wake up after 8.5 hours, and that's a lot more healthy. So, yeah. Alright, so I'm going to give you an example here. So, look at this line. Look at this line. So, oh geez, this is kind of awkward. But okay, so for this line, damn, this is quite awkward. Fuck, how am I going to do this? This is spontaneous videos for you kids. So anyway, so let's say this line. Oh, fuck! Jesus, man. Okay, let's hope the phone stays like this now. So yeah, okay, so let's say this is the line. This could be anything. This could be studying, reading. This could be art, maths, whatever. This could be sport, music. Let's say this line here is the amount you can handle. Okay, that's like the limit. You have to always make sure you're a little bit below that for peak performance in the long term. If you go a little bit above that, well, short term you're going to improve, but it's not sustainable. You're going to burn out eventually. So always make sure you stay a little bit below this line, if you know what I mean. That's the way I see it. So let's say in running, it's just your overall training load. So that's a mixture of intensity and volume. You know what I mean? So yeah, you always make sure you're below it. Make sure you're underdoing it. And these things, they shouldn't be painful. Running should not be painful. Studying should not be painful. Hurling should not be painful unless you get an injury or something. Do you know what I mean? It shouldn't be painful. It should be enjoyable. But we're taught, we have to work hard. And that's the secret, I mean, all the work I used to do as a student and still did shit, So obviously it's not effective. It's about getting the good results. It's about finding the happy medium, putting in some work, but not overdoing it to the point where you burn out the whole time. So, yeah. U.S. college system, it's a good example of people overdoing it. Generally it's too much speed rather than too much mileage. But so anyway, so here's an example. St. Mary's Twickenham, which is London, not the US. These guys, my friend told me about this. They put their training up on Strava. So yeah, they do 3 sessions a week, which is too much. I think you should do 2 sessions a week at the max. And the 15-mile long run, they average 5:50 per mile from start to finish. So for some of the slower athletes in that group, that's like their marathon pace. So I'd say that's another workout. So they're doing 4 sessions a week, and they're doing their easy runs at 6.5 minute, never any slower than 6.5 minute mile pace. Like they never clock a mile any slower than 6:30. So that's just stupid. If you know what I mean. So yeah, that's an example. These guys are working very, very hard, but they're still they burn out after 2 years and then they're gone. So obviously they work hard but they don't get the reward. So you have to try to work smart, not hard. That's my advice. So find a happy medium. Lately, I've been trying to become better at YouTube. I feel like my IQ. The reason I'm doing badly in YouTube is because my IQ is too low. So lately, I've been reading for 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes. I do 30 minutes of work. So today I won't do 30 minutes of reading because, well, I'm making this video, plus I have to write out some notes and shit. So I'll add the time. So let's say it took me 5 minutes to write the notes and then I'll make a 15-minute video. That's 20 minutes of work. I'll just do 10 minutes of reading. Do you know what I mean? So no more than half an hour of work. And yeah, that's the thing. So if you're really into something, let's say you're a runner and you're really, really into it, but you're just starting out, you don't have great fitness, you come from a sedentary background, you have to hold yourself back, do less than what you want. You'd have to come out of a training run or a session and say, I just stop. You might feel like doing more, but you have to say, no, I'm stopping here. I don't want to overdo it. For your long-term development, you need to hold back, do less. Do you know what I mean? But this is not what we're told at school. This is why people do badly, really, it's not that difficult to be a success at something, it's just a case of patience, and it's not hard work.